Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Sunday on this channel where we talk about all things sci-fi and fantasy and comic book related. And it's also Halloween season, so we are talking about the latest episode of Agatha All Along, episode 5, and there are major spoilers in this episode, but we're going to break down what happened in this episode and what we thought of it all. So let's jump right into it. So we've got to talk about the latest episode of Agatha All Along, and we are way beyond not spoiling anything because from this point on in the season, I think that spoilers are kind of out the window. In order to discuss it, we're going to have to discuss the entire episode. So we are going to have a lot of spoilers in this episode, so you have been warned. If spoilers are a deal breaker for you, step away from this video, go ahead and click off, watch the newest episode, and then come back to us. Go ahead, we will wait. That being said, if you are not afraid of spoilers or you have seen the latest episode, then we can go forward. Basically, starting off from here on out, there's no way we're not going to be able to just talk about the entire episode. So let's get into it. So the name of the episode is Darkest Hour, Wake Thy Power, and it is episode 5. Now, it is important to know we only have 4 episodes left of this series, and because we only have 4 episodes left of this series, everything has changed. Basically, it opens up with the coven of witches, and not our witches, actually the Salem 7, and they are coming on to the Witches' Road. They have made it. Apparently there was a portal that opened up at the end of last episode that allowed them to get in, because they are there now, and they are chasing down our girls, our coven, that we've been following. And they're going after Agatha. So with the Salem 7 chasing after our coven of witches, they have no choice but to make some makeshift brooms. That's right, they fly away on brooms, and it's a really funny scene because the actresses have a lot of fun saying how cliche it is and how dumb it is, and yet they kind of all are like, yeah, we missed this, we haven't done this in years type of thing also. So it seems like they had a lot of fun making fun of the concept while still maintaining that it is a part of the witch lore, that witches use broomsticks to fly away. It's something that's kind of cliche but still funny, and they take it lighthearted enough to make you sort of smile, but then at the same time they play it up so that you know that they are taking it serious as well. And that's the beauty of it. If they're taking it serious, you're going to take it serious. So they fly away and escape the Salem 7. And when they do so, they have no choice but to run into yet another cabin. And this cabin is different because the second they enter this cabin, they are now in 80s garb. And the 80s clothes are really awesome and cringy at the same time. That's what made the 80s clothes and fashion really kind of iconic and strange, is that it was so colorful, so out there, so wild, and yet it was different from anything that had come in other eras as well. There were similarities to the 70s, 60s, and all that, but the 80s made everything kind of their own, much like every generation does. And the clothes are basically 80s embodied. And it is a riot to see them look at each other and look at themselves, because that is something they've done well in this series, when they have them actually look at themselves and see what they've become in each episode. That is always something that is fun to watch. And we have seen their test represented in several different fashions in this series. We've seen it represented by wine, record players, and everything else. And this is no different. And the way that they plan these tests out is important to each individual episode. It's almost like the test itself becomes a character in the episode. And this one I absolutely loved because the test was something that I saw a lot in the 80s, and that is a Ouija board. They had to use a Ouija board for their test this time, and I think that was a brilliant move because that kind of set it up so they can make fun of a lot of different things. They could actually make fun of a bunch of horror movies in it, and they don't really get into several horror movies, and that's kind of a good thing. They used a little bit of Easter eggs from other horror movies, but not enough to make it seem overwhelming. So they used the Ouija board very well. And this Ouija board makes contact with Agatha's mother. Agatha's mother was killed by her daughter in 1693, along with her previous coven, which was revealed to be the mothers of the seven. Warning the coven to leave Agatha behind, her mom possesses her and attacks the group. Alice then uses her powers to expel Agatha's mom from her, but in the process, Alice dies. It seems as though Agatha is pulling her power from her, causing her to die. But Agatha says she has no choice. She is only stopped when the teen mentions Nicholas Scratch, which is Agatha's son. It's too late because Alice dies anyway. And Agatha insists that it is an accident, but then she gets mad because the teen lashes out at her. And the other witches tell him their goals are the same as Agatha's, that they care about the power. That's what they want, is the power. At which point, Agatha taunts the kid, taunts this teen by saying, "You are just like your mother." And the second she says that, everything changes. He uses the other witches to blast her into this mud trap. And then he blasts them there as well. And the episode ends with him standing there. You see the magic. You see a very familiar looking crown on his head. And Billie Eilish's song, "You Should See Me in a Crown," just blasts out, and it's awesome because now we are absolutely sure that this is Wiccan, and this changes everything. This is why I said this one would definitely have to have spoilers, because we have the identity of the teen, and we now have a more definitive idea as to what these witches want. They all definitely want their powers, and that's kind of what I said before, is that I think they all want the same thing, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Now, the real question is Wiccan willing to do whatever it takes to get his powers? Or does he already have them? Because it definitely seems like he already has them. Which means, is he working with the Salem Seven? Are they actually coming in to destroy Agatha and this coven of witches for him in order to bring his mother, Scarlet Witch, back, or to help him find his brother? I really do think he's in it to find his brother and resurrect his mom. I think that's his goal here. And he's using this situation, but is he actually behind everything that's gone on, or is he using her the same way that she's been using him? Remember when we first meet him, he actually says to her he needs her help, that he needs her to find the witch's road. And she at first tells him it doesn't exist, but then proceeds to take him there with these other witches. And that's kind of where we are, with the Salem Seven chasing them down. But this is a game changer, because are they working together at this point, or are they all on their own? Is it a free-for-all now? Are they going to be against each other for the remainder of the season? Because it sure seems like it could go down that way, and I am 1,000% down for it to go down like that as well. Because now you not only have a situation where we have to find out who is officially behind it, and that's why I'm not sure he's behind it. Because at this point, we know who he is. But if we know who he is this early in the season, and we know that he has got some power, we don't know who he's working for, or even if he's working for anybody. I think that what is going on here is that maybe Scarlet Witch is going to be that final battle, just like we thought. And maybe the Salem Seven are going to find them. Maybe Agatha, Wiccan, and the Scarlet Witch are going to work together to stop them. And that's what's going to result in Agatha and the kid being able to move on in the MCU, because we do know that they are going to move on in the MCU. That has already been promised. The actors who play these two are signed on to do other things in the MCU. And that's going to be something that's fun going forward. But how do they get there? Because right now they're pitting everybody against each other in this series. So whatever this big threat is, whether it is a version of Scarlet Witch that comes out and the teen and her have to work together to destroy this version of Scarlet Witch, this evil version, or whether it is actually the Salem 7, I still think when this series ends, there's going to be a much bigger threat that is controlling everything that they're doing. I think we're going to get to see something really crazy here. And I can't wait, because whatever they do here is important for the future of the MCU. And I think it's going to set up some situations for upcoming movies, maybe even the next Avengers movie. So I am 1000% down for this to happen and cannot wait for them to do it. But that is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. I told you we were going to have spoilers because we can no longer talk about this series. Even with light spoilers, we have to give it the complete rundown from this point on. But if you guys saw this episode, what did you think of it? Do you think this teen really is Wiccan, or do you think we're being played? Do you think that Agatha and him end up fighting together, or do you think this is the end of all the niceness that we've seen in this show so far? Do you think that they're all going to be out for each other? As always, we want to hear from you guys, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this crazy conversation we're having as well. Then remember to hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. Then Miko says we need more subscribers. And look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.